ready to go.
And we are ready to go because we're live. What's going on, everybody? We are here for the Instigators Hockey Show. To my right is my favorite New Jerseyan. That's Ricky O. CD sucks. Please tell the audience what CD stands for.
Chris Drury.
And my favorite Canadian is down low, Chris Kostopoulos.
Dual citizen, former Canadian, but hey, listen, we had some technical difficulties getting on today. You can blame me. That was 100% my fault, but we are here. We're happy, and we got a lot to talk about. First show post-deadline, as we were talking deadline here. So let's talk with the hottest team in the NHL, the Buffalo Sabres, who are on fire. Crazy game against Tampa, probably the game of the year, winning 8-7. Beat San Jose again, 6-3 last night. They are rolling. They are looking really, really good. Is Buffalo for real? Are they the favorites in the East right now? Gentlemen, take flight. Well, I think so. I buried them at the beginning of the year, but I also changed my mind as they changed a couple months ago. So, listen, they marked their territory that game against Tampa. I thought just bringing in Carrick like that. They didn't play Shen, they didn't play Stanley, but I think they've marked their territory now with the trades they made and the talent they have right now. They should be just as favored as anybody to win the East, as far as I'm concerned. And I'm going to jump the gun a little bit. If there's a Coach of the Year award, it might be Lindy Ruff in my book.
Same group of guys and a different GM. How's that for guys maybe revolting against a GM? I wonder where we've heard that before.
Yeah. No question. Ricky, they were 14 and something with Adams as GM. And the new guy, Kika Lainen, they're like 25-5 or something like that. Some ridiculous record. But I said it all along. Before you guys joined the show, I told Paulie for two years that team had the talent. They just couldn't do anything during the regular season to make the playoffs. But right now, Ricky, go look at their lineup, and Matty, go look at their lineup right now. They're the biggest team in the league right now, too.
Yeah, I watch them every game.
And I mean, they don't even have Jordan Greenway in the lineup right now. He'll be ready to play in the playoffs too. So I'd be careful with Buffalo.
I'm lucky I have the NHL package. I watch them a lot because I root against Jason Zucker, my ex-business partner, piece of shit that he is. But what a free agent signing for Buffalo he is. He's a 20-goal scorer, plays the power play, kills penalties, 5'10" guy fighting people. That team plays with 6'10" Quinones every single night. They don't back down from anybody.
No.
How about Luke Shen, though, Ricky? Luke Shen has fought all the top heavyweights at one time or another. Plays good.
What about Sam Carrick?
Stanley? Look at Stanley. I mean, come on. I mean, they beefed up that squad big time to take care of their star guys.
Well, you go into the playoffs.
Well, it's not Darlene. Darlene's not throwing hands.
You got Carrick, you got Shen, and you got Greenway going into the playoffs, all in one big lineup, and they all could play hockey. That's a nice lineup.
Absolutely. Listen, I think every Ranger fan knew when they got Sam Carrick, they knew who they were getting. And that's the perfect guy for Buffalo. And Buffalo got a great trade.
Sad to see him go. But.
Yeah,
it's terrible to see him go. But you know what's funny? His first game in Buffalo, Lindy had him out there with a minute left taking faceoffs in the zone. He
won two big faceoffs,
Yeah.
And listen, I mean, with the salary cap going up, you're not going to find a fourth-line center making $1 million a year that, does the job that Sam Carrick does, and he's been really good. So, you know what?
I hope the Rangers honor him and give him the Stephen McDonald Award that he deserves. There's nobody else.
I totally agree. Totally agree with that.
I think it's either him or Mika that will get the extra McDonald. I mean, it'll probably be Mika because he's not going to finish out the season, but We'll
have to see if Buffalo still plays the Rangers one more time at home. We'll have to see.
Yeah, it should be interesting.
2 weeks from now.
2 weeks from now. Yeah. Well, I mean, we got Panarin coming back next week, and then you got Buffalo coming back the week after. So you got a lot of ex-Rangers joining there. So I mean, be interesting to see. But
it's a shame there ain't more ex-Rangers coming back during this season. But we'll get to that later.
Yeah. So we pivot over to the West, Colorado. Colorado obviously getting a lot better at the deadline. They got Kadri right at the buzzer, which is pretty crazy. And now adding not only Waugh, but adding Kadri as well. Amazing, amazing additions for Colorado. Then we got a little chippiness with Connor Ingram getting run over by Nathan McKinnon. Now, he got a 5-minute major on that play.
Which was bullshit as far as I'm concerned, but go ahead.
So I'll ask you.
Wait, I want to hear your opinion on that. You don't think that deserved a major?
No.
Okay,
if you watch it properly, Ricky, we're talking about high-speed action here. It only takes that little nudge to knock a guy off balance. And Nurse makes contact with McKinnon before he hits the goalie. And if you look at the angle, it pushed him about an inch or two to the right, where had he stayed in the original lane, it wouldn't have hit him at all.
Well, that's why you're on the show.
Penalty because most guys will get a penalty for 2 minutes, no problem. I got no problem with that, but a 5-minute major for that.
Well, listen, we all know after the Olympics, McKinnon's sight is a little off left. And, I was just wondering if, maybe that had something to do with it. But you're the expert, and I will defer to your knowledge 100%. And
I watched it live, and I watched the bullshit where it took forever and ever and ever them to decide it. And then I watched the replay over and over again. And I saw Matt posting something about it, and I saw everybody talking about it. You're talking about a high-speed play, one of the fastest players in the league with the puck, going one way, and at the last second, Nurse just reaches, not big, but enough to make a inch or two shove to the right. And if you watch it completely, guys, if he really ran him over, you'd have to back up a meat truck to pick him up.
Yeah.
Well,
what's funny is that we were talking about Buffalo a second ago, just to go back for 1 second. The San Jose game, say what you want about Buffalo, but did anybody see the Celebrini goal where it was just magic? I'll be honest with you, he's the best hockey player I have seen at that age. I would even say he may be on par to be the next McDavid in the next 3 years. He is that good. He is that good. I've watched everyone from Bobby Orr to Wayne Gretzky to Sidney Crosby, and there's nobody at that age that was drastically better than this kid.
Well, I'll tell you right now, I think Schaefer, I would take Schaefer over Celebrini just
You're out of your mind.
Wise.
You're out of your mind.
Really? Really? Out of my mind?
Ricky, let's put it this way. If I was a GM, I'd take second choice if that was the worst case scenario. But Schaefer is unbelievable. Nobody in the league.
I'm not saying he's not.
I take Schaefer over Celebrini.
Listen, I played against Paul Coffey, okay? I played 10 years against that guy. I watched how that guy skated. Effortless, didn't look like he was exerting a lot of energy, and yet he flew up and down that ice. Matt Schaefer is the same thing. And there's been nobody from Paul Coffey to Matt Schaefer in between that could skate like that as a defenseman. As great as Makar is, he don't skate like Schaefer.
And he didn't come into the league like that.
And you can take all the Norris Trophy winners in between and show me the guy that skates like Matthew Schaefer. Show me. I want to see it.
But you look at
Adam Fox.
Well, not even close. But you look at Celebrini, right? Celebrini coming into the league. Did Connor McDavid do what Celebrini did coming into the league? Yeah. Did Sidney Crosby do what Celebrini did into the league? Yeah. So, I mean, you look at Matthew Schaefer. What defenseman, right, has come into the league and done this? What defenseman? How many defensemen in the league right now have 20 goals? Total, rookie or not? How many defensemen? 3. This kid is 18 years old, has 20 goals already. He could be a 30-goal scorer consistently as a defenseman. Remember a couple years ago when Cale Makar had 30 goals and everybody lost their mind? And he's in the prime of his career. Schaefer is unbelievable right now. And really, really, if I had to pick Celebrini or Schaefer, I think it's Schaefer. So I value defensemen over centers.
I would take the center. That's just me. We have two. We'll play fantasy hockey next year. We'll see how it goes.
It's not a problem with me. If you guys,
well, I mean
he's got 90 points at 19 years old. He's got 33 goals and 57 assists in 62 games. He's a 1.5 per game player.
Yeah, well, Matthew
Okay,
Schaefer's almost got 24 goals,
but
Ricky.
Schaefer's
I'm not,
18.
I'm not questioning Schaefer. I'm
He's
saying
only
I would take the
13 goals
center over
behind.
the defenseman. That's it.
As a defenseman on a team that was supposed to
What
go
defenseman
nowhere.
does what Schaefer does at 18 years old? What defenseman has done that?
Nobody's questioning him.
Why?
Matt.
Why
I'm
the
just saying
order?
I would take the center. If I'm building an organization, I want the center. That's all.
I don't disagree with that either, but I'm going to lean towards Schaefer right now because I just look at the skating ability.
And I'll resort to something I've said all season long. In the last 3 years, the NHL has become a different sport.
Oh, yeah.
There's no contact. There's no physicality. You're not going to tell me. Listen, somebody jumped up on WFAN the other day, one of the hosts, I forgot who it was, and started screaming that Schaefer's better at this point in his career than Brian Leach ever was. And I had to get up there and go nuts on the guy because what I said to him, one is, Brian Leach came up. And listen, this is not a Ranger Islander thing. I would take Schaefer as a New York Ranger tomorrow and cry that he was on the team. That's how happy I would be. I'm just saying he compared him to Leach. And my point was, did he have Eric Lindros bearing down on him every single night? Did he have Berube? Did he have Kastelik? Did he have these guys that were nothing but pure goons taking runs at him every single night? No. The NHL is a different place where a kid like Schaefer can come in at 18, hot dog, and skate all over. Celebrini also. I'm just saying it's a different league. Comparing someone from the 80s to 2025, 26 is not fair anymore.
No, Ricky, I'll agree with that. But, the difference is that's the way it is today. There's no question about it, that it's a little more lenient. I'll be nice. More lenient. You can't hack anymore. You can't interfere anymore. You can't do any of the shit that we did back in the 80s, okay? There's no question about it. Brian Leach is like, he's a god in the NHL when it comes to defensive. He's in the top 10 of all time, no question about it.
And I think Schaefer's going to be there at the end, too.
Schaefer turned around a franchise that was dead in the water, okay?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
So does Celebrini.
Where a guy
That's
like
my point.
Well, but Celebrini's had a little more help on that team than what the
Oh, I disagree on that.
Well, I don't disagree with it. Like other than other than Bo Horvat, who does anybody know on the Islanders going into the season?
Barzell's having a very good season. But look at Celebrini. Look at the next closest point total. What is it? Will Smith at like 48, and Celebrini's got 90.
And Will Smith missed like 25 games.
48 points get you these days about $8 million a year.
Well, that's what. Speaking of $8 million a year contracts, another free agent is gone. Nick Schmaltz re-upping with Utah, 8 years, $64 million, $8 million per year for the 30-year-old forward. He's been a consistent 60-point guy for the last 5 seasons or so. 59 points on the season this season. Utah extending one of the top remaining free agents at this point. This free agency class gets weaker and weaker. Alex Tuck is really the only notable name of right now. So, gentlemen, thoughts on Nick Schmaltz re-signing and the free agency class going into 2026?
I'm going to jump first on this one. If I'm Tuck, I don't re-sign anything right now.
Oh,
Because he could write his own ticket the day the season ends. He can literally write a number on a piece of paper and say, this is what I'm taking, and there'll be 10 teams that'll line up to get him, only because he's what's left. Fantastic hockey player, physical hockey player, good teammate, but he's not, Mike Bossy. But he's going to be treated like he's McDavid at the end of the season because there's nothing left. And as far as the extension, great move by Utah. They locked their star down. They got what they wanted. And again, it's the last year of an 8-year contract, if I'm correct, right, Matt? This is the last year a team can give out 8 years.
I think the CBA ends July 1.
You're seeing a lot of that being given out, and good for them. I watched a YouTube special the other day on the Mammoth and their fans. They've got a pretty dedicated fan base. They got a good thing going down there. They've got the best jerseys in the NHL. Not that has anything to do with it, but they're selling merchandise like crazy and lock the team down while they're young. I think it's a good move. You agree, Cuts?
Oh, I think they've done everything right since they've come into the league. They got a guy who's got more money than he needs, which is always a good thing when you're an owner of an NHL club. And they've done everything right. I can't complain. I'll just go right back to Matt here. Matt, I know you picked them to win the Stanley Cup, but
calm down. I said 2 weeks into the season they'd be a playoff team.
They're a
wild card team right now.
They've done a great job, and it's smart to lock up your guys before it gets to a point where you have trouble with players.
You want to know what's crazy about? You want to know what's crazy about Utah? They got JJ Peterka in that trade, right? And JJ Peterka's not having a good season.
really bad season. He had 67 points last season. I think he only has about 37, 38 this year. And Josh Doan over in Buffalo was the quote-unquote throw-in in that deal, and he's been unbelievable. So Utah's been this good, and Peterka hasn't even been what they thought he'd be, which would be a 65, 70-point guy. Really kind of interesting to see.
I think Paterko's got to settle in. It's a different life. Now, again, I know Buffalo a little bit different than other people know the Sabres, only because of my relationship to the team. And JJ was a client of mine when he came to Nashville. He was very much coddled by Jason Zucker and some of the other veterans on Buffalo. And I think they helped that transaction, just being more accustomed to the United States and the lifestyle. And I think he left a family atmosphere, and it takes a little while to get your feet back reestablished under you when you go to a different city. Watch out next year for him. I guarantee you he has a year down there. He finds his, mentor on the team. He knows where to go eat and things like that. Make a huge difference from a kid from another country moving to Utah, of all places. You go from a New York market, no matter what you think about Buffalo, it's a New York market, to Utah. Give the kid a year to get a little, his feet wet, accustomed to the traditions down there, the people down there. And I guarantee you next season, he's a 75, 80-point player.
Listen, Buffalo's a great sports town, whether people want to hear it or not.
Yeah.
They didn't support the Sabres because of the crap that they went through the last 5 or 6 years, but
14 years.
When they were in their heyday with the Gilbert Perreaults and Rick Martins and stuff like that, it was psychotic there in Buffalo.
Well, Gotcha, you played against the Maydays and Rob Ray and LaFontaine.
There with the Buffalo Bills. I mean, they love their sports figures in Buffalo. And you guys are talking about Alex Tuck. It's going to be tough for him to move, free agency or not. If I'm Buffalo, I'm trying to keep him.
But
what was the odd?
I'll give him everything he wants to keep him.
He's got all leverage right now.
Well,
it depends. I mean, he would have to take this new CBA kick in this year or
next season, 26, 27.
Right. Hey, I got to interrupt you guys. Matty, you better check in with Paulie D because he's saying that we're not on. So,
we're not on? It says recording.
Yeah,
so we're taping the show. You post it when we're done. That's it.
So I'm just I have to do it.
You're recording it, Matt. Don't worry about it. If it's recording when we're done, you just post it to YouTube. We're fine. Let's go. Keep going. Right. We'll do a 45-minute show and get the fuck out of here. Let's go. I'm pumped. Patsy, question. You played in the Odd in Buffalo. What was that arena like when you were playing the LaFontaine?
I loved it. It was a tight, smaller rink. It wasn't the regulation size, so bigger guy, slower guy loved it because the fast guys didn't get that extra square inch, and stuff like that. So I love playing.
Beth jumped in. Beth said we are live. Paulie don't know what he's talking about.
All right.
Patsy, let me ask you a couple questions while we got you. As the vet on this show, we really don't get to pick your brain much. What were your 3 favorite arenas to play in? So the Odd, obviously, did you played in the old Boston Garden also, correct?
Yes, I did. I loved. I'll be honest with you, playing in Madison Square Garden. When I played there, I'm talking as a visitor now, not my only year playing there. As a visitor in warm-ups, there's fans that still remember me till the day I retired. They'd come over to the boards, during the pregame warm-ups, just shooting on the goalie and all that little lazy stuff that we all used to do before a game. They didn't cost you. We should never have traded you, blah, 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 all this stuff. I enjoyed it. I think MSG was the best. And, yeah, I love playing in Boston, another small rink. It was undersized. It wasn't a big surface. Buffalo was good. I can't complain with playing in those buildings. They were good for me because the faster guys didn't like the fact that the ends were about 6 feet shorter and on both ends. You know what I mean? So there was not a lot of room for guys to fly around, and I enjoyed that.
I just got one more question, and we can get back on track. But being an NHL player, obviously, you have an advantage over me and Matty. What's it like on trade deadline day? Since we're going to discuss the deadline. Were you ever dealt at the deadline? I don't remember that, Kotze, but if you weren't, as a teammate, how does a person come into a new team? Like, what's the protocol? Like, do you guys, somebody go pick up? I know the old stories where certain players would go pick guys up at the airport to welcome them, bring them to the first game. John Tonelli got traded in between warm-ups and the game, and he still played for Calgary that night against the Islanders. What is that situation like? Dougie Waite got traded, if you remember, an hour before the game from the Rangers. What happens on that when they get traded? Who comes to you? Who gives you the travel info?
You know what, Ricky? It all depends on where your team is in the standings. That's how it works. If your team's doing well, and there's still a rumor they want to add a piece or two, the guys are pretty positive about it. Okay, thinking, okay, we're going to help our team. So there's really not a lot of negativity around it. But if you're playing on a team that's like middle of the road and below that, you're all shitting yourselves. Okay, you really are, because you don't know. I mean, who's it going to be? Is it going to be the guy next to you in the stall, the next guy in the stall, guy across from you in the stall in the dressing room? You know what I mean? Stuff like that, and it's not a lot of fun. I mean, I was rumored a couple of times to be traded when I was with the Leafs. One time, John Brophy told me right to my face, he says, "I heard you bought a new house. Well, it better have fucking wheels on it." You know what I mean? That's what he said to me. Like, that idiot. That's what he said. And then he also what else did he do one time? He said all kinds of shit about me getting traded, but it never happened. But the guys that got traded, you get a feeling on who's going to go and who's not going to go. But I can tell you one thing, and it's kind of related to what's going on now with the New York Rangers. Once the trade deadline's over, you see the uptick in play on guys. You know why? Because they're all fighting for that little piece of real estate. I call it real estate. They want to own a little piece of real estate that keeps them on the team next year. That's what happens.
Listen, we'll pivot into that in a second, but there's a couple of things I just want to touch on before we dive into the Rangers real quick. Right now, Columbus is not in the playoffs, and Columbus would be leading the Pacific Division by 3 points right now. And now this is making rounds on social media and all over. The playoff format is obviously top 3 in the division, then 2 wildcard teams. Is it time to go back to 1 through 8 or even 1 through 16? Because you got Dallas and Minnesota going to play each other, and Utah's the 4th team in that division, and they're in the Pacific side of the bracket. A team like Utah probably has a better chance of making the conference finals than Minnesota or Dallas, because they have to go through an absolute war. What are the thoughts of what the playoffs are like right now for everybody?
I'll let Ricky start.
You know, I'm an old school guy, man. I used to love 1 through 16, which will never happen again. We've discussed this weeks ago. But I think you have to go back 1 to 8. I think it's just more fair. I think it's a lot more exciting. It builds rivalries to me. You know, getting to see maybe a team play a 7-game series against a team that normally wouldn't get to play early in the playoffs, fighting for the survival factor. Getting to Columbus right now, has anyone done a better job than Rick Bowness? I mean, is he the coach of the year right now in the NHL?
John Davidson.
His old buddy.
Yep.
You know, but it just comes down to me, again, being an old school hockey person. I just love rivalries, and I like the 1 to 8 better personally. And I would rather see the NHL go back to that. I don't know.
That's what Bettman is trying to quote unquote do. That's the whole logic on it, is that he wants the in division rivalries, because that's what we're going for with the 2-3 matchup. That's the logic behind.
Go back to playing your division 7 or 8 times a year, and not this stupid nonsense 3 games, 4 games a year. When we played the Islanders, the Devils, the Flyers, the Penguins, and the Washington Capitals 8 times a year. You want to talk about fans sold out games that there was never an empty seat in an arena? But
I agree.
Listen, I don't understand the people in the NHL offices, and I don't understand the GMs and the presidents of these teams that vote for this shit. You're telling me now, as I start the season, that it's not really important for me to get 100 points as a team. That's basically what this comes down to. It's not that important. Because I could have 100 points, you could have 100 points, and guess what? We're going to face each other in the first round, while 2 teams that got 75 and 75 might play each other. That's just the dumbest shit in the world. I don't understand that. You're supposed to be rewarded for having a great regular season and have a top seeding. And a top seed should never have to play a number 3 seed right away. And that's what's happened in the NHL the last 10 years with this bullshit. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. Okay, I played in the 1 in 16th era. Ricky, when there was only 21 teams in the league. And we went to the semifinals as a 13th overall team. Okay? We came on. I'm not saying that it can't happen, if you go 1-16 again, but the teams that we played were number 2 overall and number 4 overall.
Yep. And
then we lost to number 1 overall. Because they didn't have to play it. Number 1 didn't have to play anybody like us till the 3rd round. It makes no sense to me that you're trying to hang a carrot in front of these guys, have a great regular season for what? Think about it. You're going to have, like you just said, Minnesota and who could be playing each other right off the bat? Dallas. Boy, does that make a lot of sense.
And then you'll get Utah and Anaheim.
It's the dumbest shit on earth. These guys don't know what they're doing in the NHL offices, and I don't know what these guys do when it comes to voting. Who sends the representative of the organization to make the votes on these rule changes? It's dumber than shit.
Well, listen, Kachi, this is the only league in professional sports that you can't even get a clear decision on a fucking penalty. How do you call goaltender interference on Lafreniere the other night, right? And there's 30 examples of other people smashing into goaltenders and nothing's called. There's no clear-cut rules. I've said this. Now, listen, God rest his soul. My Uncle Ray is the person who got me into hockey more than anybody. He was the man who invented the 2 TVs side by side in the living room in 1976, okay? He would get so mad about – I wish my cousin was in the chat room. It was his dad, my cousin Mike. He would get so mad that he had NHL players that he was partners with on horses and ended up with the NHL's phone number to the referee's room in Montreal. And he would call the Montreal referees line during games and curse them out over penalties that were being called. The National Hockey League, Brian Boyle summed it up last night. There was a call on Parsonen last night, right? Where he just finally goes, I don't even know what's a penalty in the NHL anymore. That's not a penalty. How do you have a league where, like, even baseball's going to the strike zone now where the computer is going to contradict the umpire, right? Because there's so much on the line in each game now. There's no more off nights. How do you give a penalty to a person when it wasn't a penalty? When he didn't even make contact with the guys, We also saw a player, was it this year or last year, went to a referee and went like this and said, he never hit me. Take the penalty away. He never hit me.
This is the Celebrini I think it was a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah. This is the only league in sports where you don't know what the rules are. There's no definitive rules. There's none. You can lose a Stanley Cup on a phantom call. Think about that.
Well, the Rangers did. Let's not forget. Dwight King running Henrik Lundqvist, goalie interference. That changed the whole complexion of that Stanley Cup. And if there was by today's rules, that would be called goalie interference. And, that's
100%.
game 2
there. Guys, you got a bunch of guys in the NHL offices and a bunch of guys working in the NHL teams. They're a bunch of Poindexters that never really played the game. Okay? All they know is numbers. That's all they know. They don't know the real thing, Ricky. That's the problem. Ever since they put all these rules in, think about it. When they put that obstruction rule in, how many times was it called the first year? Almost every play. Now they don't call it at all. They don't call it at all.
What about embellishment? What about embellishment?
It's never been put in the first place.
Yeah.
And think about that. I'm going to go nuts here on this now. I shoot the puck out of my zone inside my own blue line and I get a penalty? For what? If I shoot it out in center, it's not a penalty. If I shoot it out in your zone, it's not a penalty, but it's a penalty in my zone? Think about this for a second. What kind of bullshit they've caused in the last 20 years with their rule changes. It started in the 90s with the Instigator rule. Ricky, come on. All these Poindexters think that you got guys like Colin Campbell who played a long time and coached and all this shit, but he was a big brown nose that nobody liked. You got a guy like him as vice president of the league or whatever, in charge of hockey operations in the NHL. Think about that.
Yeah. I mean,
George Parros, enough said.
I agree.
I give George Parros, I give him credit for what he did as a player, but I don't give him any credit for what he's doing as
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So
but Brendan Shanahan was a policeman too for a while there. Ricky, remember that?
So was Colin Campbell. Colin Cantor was too.
So listen, before we touch on the Rangers real quick, we're about a month away from the playoffs. Right now, if the season were to end, who's your pick in the East? Who's your pick in the West? Cassie, I'll start with you.
I'm going to go with Buffalo.
Buffalo!
Let's go, Buffalo.
I'm going with Buffalo. I'm going to shock the world with Buffalo. Why not?
Yeah, you're just riding the wagon, I think. Everybody's on Buffalo's wagon right now.
Why not, though? I'm the one that buried them, but now I can do a 360 and say they've done a great job. They're a big, strong team.
Well, let's do it this way.
Goal scoring. They got goaltending. I mean, they sent Tampa a message the other night. That's what they did.
Play Tampa's backup goaltender.
When's the last time Tampa ever gave up 8 goals in a game?
But they played Tampa's backup goaltender.
Hey, you still an NHL goaltender, and you still got to put the puck in the net.
I don't want to hear any excuses. Your lineup's the lineup.
Hey, let's
and
do it.
Who do you got in
right?
the West, Cassie?
West, I'm going to go Colorado.
So you got Buffalo and Colorado right now.
Yeah.
Ricky?
Hey, folks, don't bet on it, though, because you'll blame me. But go ahead.
I'll blame you anyway.
It's really hard. Okay, I've said this multiple times during the season. And you could see behind me, if you could see the windows behind, the jerseys behind me. I've got 2 games going right now, 2 giant screens. I'm listening to another one on the phone. I haven't watched a single Colorado game this year unless it was against the Rangers. I cannot stand watching that team. I don't know what it is. I just don't like the team. But I'm going to pick them to win the Stanley Cup. Plain and simple, they're going to win the Cup. I want to say out of the East, I don't know. Can Buffalo do it? Yes. Are they proven? No. That's the problem with picking Buffalo is they haven't proven themselves in the playoffs. Sometimes you got to lose to win. And they haven't gotten a chance to lose, but we'll see what happens. I'm going to say Montreal Canadiens, Colorado Avalanche finals.
All right, let me educate you, gentlemen. All right, preseason, I had Dallas over Tampa.
It's Paulie
and I'm telling you right now, Buffalo and Tampa are going to feed families in that second round matchup when they play. Tampa's going to play Montreal, so Ricky's pick's going to be out round 1. Tampa fully healthy. Corey Perry is such an underrated addition for Tampa. People don't talk about it enough. Corey Perry's going to be really, really solid. He's going to be better than his first run with Tampa. He's going to add that depth to the lineup. Tampa didn't need much, but I trust their goaltending. I trust their defense. Radish and Moser are 2 guys that nobody really talks about, and they've been fantastic for Tampa. In the West, I'm going to do a little cop-out here. The winner of Minnesota and Dallas will win the Stanley Cup.
What happened to Utah?
They never picked Utah to win the Stanley Cup.
You picked Utah.
I picked them to make the playoffs week 2, and currently I'm correct.
Possibly win the Stanley Cup.
I never said that. Come on. But they could. They could knock out your pick. They play Colorado. No, they wouldn't even play Colorado round 1. They play Anaheim round 1 because of the crazy.
All right. Well, if we're going to do that, right? How about I'm the one? I want some credit. I had Anaheim, I had Montreal, and I had San Jose, and the Chicago Blackhawks all being light years ahead of anybody else had them. And
I had Toronto. I had Toronto not making the playoffs.
Dallas at one time early in the year. You said Dallas.
Oh, I said Dallas for sure. I did. I said Dallas. I said Dallas. Tampa Bay was my final. Yeah.
Okay.
Copycat.
You want to talk about copycats? Why don't you go back to your little preach over there on TikTok the other day where you stole my whole thing word for word about the trade deadline?
What did I say?
Yeah, I should sue you for plagiarism. I don't even know what that word means.
What did I say?
I don't even know what that word means.
Let's get to the Rangers now.
All right, we'll go to the Rangers.
No. I want to ask you a question, Kotz. Let me know what you're going to school me on Connor Sherry about, because I've been dying for 36 minutes right now to find out.
He scored a goal last night, Ricky. Come on. Come on.
Guys, it's just coming in. He's got an 8-year extension as well.
What about Lafreniere now since Panarin's gone? He doesn't have to defer on anybody anymore like he did with Kreider and Panarin and everybody else. Finally getting to be the number 1 guy on the number 1 line after 6 years. Finally, the Rangers getting smart. And not only that, letting Perreault play with the top line, which they've never done with any of the rookies, starting with Lafreniere, Kakko, and anybody else, Hedel, anybody.
So let's ask this. Lafreniere's hot stretch.
No, hold on. I'm not done yet with my Ranger, Red. My Ranger, I told you guys they weren't going to do anything spectacular last week when it come to the trade deadline, because you already decimated the team. You got rid of Panarin. You got rid of Kreider. You got rid of Trude. Remember I said all that last week? And everybody's going, Trocheck's going to go, and Zibanejad's going to go, maybe Fox. They couldn't do a trade like that.
Kotze, they already said that Fox has got
You
it.
got nothing in the closet. You got nothing in the closet, period.
Kotze,
Couldn't do it.
they already said they're going to talk to Adam Fox the day the season's over about leaving. He wants out.
Well, that's good. If he wants to go, go. Out the door you go. I'm fine with that. I got no problem with that at all. Because again.
And I'll be honest with you. If Chris Drury's asking price is true from Boston, I gained a lot of respect for him because if he would have got that trade from the Boston Bruins, he would have set this rebuild up in one trade to be successful and make the playoffs next year.
All I'm saying is that they couldn't do what everybody wanted them to do.
100% agree.
They could not do it because it wouldn't have mattered. You cannot empty the cupboard completely heading into next year or actually going into this year's draft. Maybe stuff will happen there with these guys, but you couldn't do it now because you only got one center on the team that's solid right now.
Kotze, did you see Emily Kaplan's report? Emily Kaplan said Emily Kaplan's the best source for New York Ranger news out of everybody in the entire country right now. But Emily Kaplan made a very startling thing, which I texted to you, Maddie, I think. She came out and said Chris Drury had talks with Igor Shesterkin and Fox at the trade deadline about leaving and said they're going to readdress both players about the direction of the team at the end of the season.
Well, they should.
And will give them the option to leave.
They will. They absolutely should. There should be nothing in stone going into the off season. Okay. But for now, you couldn't decimate the team, Ricky, until you have an idea what you're going to do in the summertime.
Oh, I understand, Kotze. But if he would have got Kastelik, Mitten, in a first rounder for Trocheck, you have to make that trade.
Okay, but for example, you get rid of Trocheck, right? You get rid of Zibanejad right now, just for example. Other than Noah Labo, who's center on this team?
Oh, we got Parsonen, don't worry.
No, but like in the minors and in juniors.
Nobody.
You just said it early in the show today. You start with centers.
There's nobody. The cupboard's there.
That's why they couldn't trade these guys.
You know what's amazing is that Hartford's on like a 3-game winning streak right now, and I can't name the guys who are scoring the goals. They're all 5'7" little guys that are lifetime career AHL players that they picked up to play. There's nothing in the cupboard. Garrard is terrible. They have no third goaltender in the entire organization, and after this year, they're going to need a number 2 because Quick's retiring.
I mean,
there's no center. There's no center to come up. Now, honestly, this is something I've been thinking about. Here, how do you say his name, Maddie? Is it here? We call him Chernobyl. How do you say his name?
Is it Kalmar,
Karmalev, whatever his name is? He's showed a very, very good, solid forecheck game, and so has Edstrom since they've been back.
Well, yeah.
Rempe's a natural center. If you put that line together next year and let that be your fourth line and just go, here you go. You have a very solid, deep forechecking fourth line. Build 3 lines now. You got the top line going unbelievable. Pick up a free agent or two to play. Trocheck and Tuck together would be amazing. I would not move Lafreniere off the front line for that kid. I'd make him be a second-line player.
Lafreniere, listen.
Put Trocheck and Miller together.
Alexis Lafreniere deserves a lot of criticism because of a lot of stuff. There's no question about it, but I've always held this in my mind. I've never seen a first-round draft choice. I know I'm repeating myself. I'm repeat here. I've never seen a first-round draft choice overall that had limited ice time with the big boys to
you
start
said this all season.
his career in the NHL. Okay? Now you put him on a line with Zibanejad because when Zibanejad goes, the Rangers go. Now you got a guy like Perreault. He's already shown me now in the last week that this guy has hockey brain. He knows the passing areas. He knows where to be. Now you got Lafreniere. For some reason now he's showing up at the right spots.
Well, I'll tell you what changed Lafreniere.
Line alone, right?
100%. But you know what changed Lafreniere? He got a power play goal, and it just clicked right after that.
Ricky, what changed him is he's going into that dressing room now, and he doesn't have to look at Panarin anymore, or Chris Kreider anymore, that are automatic on the power play. That's what changed him.
Yeah,
automatic. Sure. And then they even went to Will Cooley on the power play ahead of him with some coaches. The best coach Lafreniere had was Gerard Gallant. Think about it. That's when he scored his 20 goals.
Couldn't disagree with you at all. Loved Gallant with him. He was feisty. He played a tough game, too.
Realize that you've got to play your young studs. And Perreault's a stud. Like it or not, I think he's going to be a real good player.
So I think going into this deadline and going to the end of the season, a lot of people are upset that the Rangers are winning games right now, but I can't to say I'm upset because the guys who you are going to need for the future to be good are playing really good. With that being said, even if they got number one overall, do you see McKenna or Stengberg being like any of the three number one overalls, like Schaefer, Bedard, Celebrini? I
No.
don't. I think McKenna is closer to Lafreniere than he is to elite generational talent. With that being said, my thing is, I really like the guy who I want the Rangers to draft is Keaton Verhoev. I might have butchered his name, but he's the top defenseman in the draft.
Yep.
6'4", right-handed shot. If you do trade Fox, that's the guy I want because he's actually a year younger than McKenna and Stengberg. He's still 17. He's turning 18 around the time of the draft. And that's the guy that I would really, really want. But you're looking at this team, they're playing really well. They are playing some bad teams along the way, but this team was a bad team. Going into next season, what do you think this team needs? Restructuring on defense, restructuring, because the forward group seems good right now. Do you think this could be a playoff forward group with just some tinkering, or we're still a little ways away from being a playoff team next year?
Well, listen. Here's what I think. I had it written down today. I'm gonna say it right now. Guys like Helmash, okay, guys like Edstrom, guys like Cooley, guys like Laba, guys like Lafreniere, guys like Perreault. They have to improve. If they improve, it's not a problem. But if they stay stagnant the way they are, I'm not saying they're playing bad. They have to realize that, hey, we got a shot at being a number one or a number two player on lines. So it's up to them now to take and grab a hold of a position. These guys have to get better. It's the same thing on defense with Iorio. The guy's 6'4", 220 pounds. You want a job? Don't think you're going to be Adam Fox with the puck. Go out there and hit people, play tough defense. You'll have a job if you do that. But if you're going to play soft, you're not going to have a job. There's so many guys. They got a lot of, I'll say it right now, Ty Carte, you're on my team from what I've seen so far.
Yep.
Great pickup.
If he doesn't center the fourth line, he's going to definitely center my third line. This guy skates, he hustles, he hits, and he's actually got some pretty good offensive skills.
Right, but he's saddled with Connor Sheary playing on the other side of him.
Playing, like you said, Matt, right now, playing well, that need to grasp a hold of the situation. The big boys are almost all gone from this team. Almost.
Well, I think you also see Sullivan putting his stamp on this team. Berard is never going to get a chance under Sullivan. He's gone. They called him up last night and scratched him. Okay, so we can cross him off the prospect list.
Which is honestly, such a shame, Ricky.
I'm not disappointed for one reason. He's given Chernobyl a chance to play at 6'6" over another 5'9". If he's going to play a lineup with Perreault, Sherry, the guy Kotze just mentioned, how do you say his name? The kid we just picked up. Carte. You got a whole bunch of guys under 5'10". You can't put another one in the lineup. So I don't disagree with Bedard not playing. But getting to the draft, real quick, my opinion, the kid I want the Rangers to draft, and you can look him up, Maddie, is Ethan. I'm going to butcher his last name. Is it pronounced Belchets? He's 17 out of Ontario. He's 6'5", 235 pounds at 17, and he's a 70-point guy, a point and a half per game player right now. He's ranked 8th overall, okay? And he's the size and type of player we need. We got to go away from the Europeans, and we got to continue with this. Hey, I'm going to say this, and people can get mad at me. If you're European and you get mad at what I say, I don't really care. Have you seen the difference in the lineup since we started putting north-south players in the lineup since the All-Star break? I mean, since the trade deadline, the Olympic break? The first line, you got a Swede, no problem. But he's flanked with an American and a Canadian, and they're going this way. There's no more of that 75-foot pass across the ice 63 times on a power play. They're setting up ding, 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 shot. There's no more cross-ice pass. You got an American center in the second line with Will Cooley, a North American on that side of it. The Rangers have gone away from a European-heavy lineup to a North American-heavy lineup, and I think you could see the difference in the team in 5 games. And it's only going to continue to get better with the size they have in the minors. Now, one thing, I always talk about Dylan Rubrick all the time. He's my favorite prospect right now. Interesting stat. Hartford has had 3 line brawls in the last 6 games. I don't know if you saw them. They brawled with the Islanders. They brawled with the Hershey Bears. They brawled with the Flyers. Rubrick was on the ice all 3 times and never threw a punch. Rubrick does not have a single fighting major this year. Okay? And watching the games, opposing commentary has mentioned how Hartford has the worst developmental coaching system in the AHL.
It was ranked on. It was ranked on.
Yeah, ranked last.
Yep.
This is what we got to get away from. You have talent. The kid scored 20 goals last year as a rookie, 55 points. He became the heavyweight champion of the AHL in 1 season. Now he's not scoring, he's not hitting, and he's not fighting a year later. That bothers me. This organization doesn't develop. As a matter of fact, I'm trying to think, who did we lose to? We lost to the Devils, and the game before the Devil game, who did we play?
Did we lose the Flyers? No, did we?
It was the Flyers.
No.
It was at Madison Square Garden. We won the game. Anyway, I watched the game because sometimes on the satellite you only get one, broadcast. And they said something about it was a really cheap shot at the New York Rangers, but I loved it. The gentleman said, Lafreniere, number 1 overall pick, comes to the New York Rangers, and he's a flop. He said it's the 7th or 8th time the Rangers have missed on a top 10 or top 15 draft choice and passed up other players. And you know what he said? It's hard to develop players with Jed Ortmeyer as your head of hockey development.
Yeah, but you can't blame it all just on him because there's guys before him, Ricky, that were Ortmeyer wasn't the head of guy when Hedl was drafted.
It was Tanner Glass.
But he wasn't there. I'm talking about, we go all the way, go back to that big right winger in the early 2000s. What was it, huge specimen?
Huge specimen.
Yeah. It's not just him. Bottom line is, you're talking about the AHL. You're talking about the AHL. Here's the problem with the AHL. I played in it, okay? And I played on a pretty loaded team in New Haven. We had the best record in the league that year because you know why? We had a bunch of young guys that were trying to get the fuck out of there, and we had a bunch of guys that were lifers in the NHL. So it's hard to fucking get anywhere in the NHL these days, especially in Hartford. If you're a young guy, you don't know who's going to be on your team from week to week the way things are going there, from year to year, to get the hell out of there. You need help. So how do you get help? You get good coaching and good assistant coaching and good developing skills. And they don't have it. You can't rely game in, game out on a consistency when you're trying to win a game in the AHL, when you've got guys coming left and right, and this guy's coming in, and he's already been in the league for 10 years on the AHL. That's not good for young people to see. Okay? That's the biggest problem with the AHL, Ricky. You can't develop in the AHL like you want to. It's not the same as the past. Okay? Plain and simple.
Hey, Rick.
And you gotta. I mean, there's got to be a height limit too. Like, stop with the 5 foot, what alls, please.
I just said it. Well, let's ask it. I mean, honestly, I destroy Connor Sherry all year long.
1 out of every 50 great NHL players are height challenged. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey,
absolutely.
Ricky, back to your point about the kid you wanted them to draft. What position did he play? I was trying to get that out of you.
He's a left winger.
Left winger. So again, I tend to shy away from the wingers. If you got a premium high draft pick, I think you got to go center or defense, and it's a very weak center draft.
Listen, I don't think we're going to be in the position to take the 2 defensemen, and I would love to get either one of them.
Yeah,
I would love to get the top 3 picks, or what's his name in the 2 defensemen. I think we just played ourselves out of the top. We played ourselves out of the top 6.
But you don't know what you don't really know what the pinballs.
There really is no really obvious number 1 this year, is there?
Yeah, the Islanders were 11th. They got Schaefer. You don't know what the pinball
obvious
is.
Number 1. Both you guys are a little bit more hip to this stuff because I don't really follow the junior leagues or college anymore. Who's the best sniper coming out next year? That's what I want.
I'm going to give you the draft. I'm going to give you the list of prospects, guys.
Who puts the puck in the net? That's what I want to know.
I mean, probably McKenna's more a power play specialist.
And that's who I want. I want just in case.
I'll say this:
you got rid of Kreider, you got rid of Panarin, 2 guys that scored a lot of goals over the past just in case some of these guys don't quite improve their game, I'd like to see a sniper.
Kathy, here's your problem, right? Gavin McKenna, number one right now, current rankings as per NHL.com. Gavin McKenna, number one prospect, 5'10" and a half, 170 pounds. I don't want him. Keaton Verhoff, 6'4", 220-pound defenseman out of North Dakota.
That's my guy.
I like that size.
That's my guy.
Carson Carrells, 6'3", 200 pounds, defenseman out of Prince George. Then you got a 6'2" Chase Reed, I'm sorry, 6'2", 200 defenseman out of Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds. I've watched him play. He hits everything in sight, and he's a heavyweight.
Do you lefty or righty?
Who scores, Ricky?
Because we need left defense more than right defense.
Okay, your center, the closest center we have in the top 10 is Khalib Malhotra, which I believe is Manny's son. 6'2", 185-pound center out of Bradford Battalion. Okay, and then the next guy is a defenseman again, 6'2", Daxon Rudolph. Then you get into your center. So you got Tylen Lawrence, Ila Maranov, and Ethan Belchez, which is the kid I said I hope we get.
They're all Canadian in this draft. They're all Canadian.
I want a
and
guy
they're all
that
big.
scores. That's what I want. I want somebody.
But it doesn't get McKinnon's the scorer, but he's 5'10", 168 pounds.
And the guy in Chicago's not exactly 6'3", 220 pounds either, Ricky.
Well, I think McKenna would need to go to.
I'm just trying to say to you, you can't judge anything until they get to the NHL because we see how it works. This guy's the overall census number one. How to work out? We can go through the list of guys that were number one overall the last 30 years that sucked.
I agree.
Okay?
This is if there's ever a year to trade.
Matt just said it a second ago. 11th pick, Matthew Schaefer.
Yeah, they went from 11 to 1.
That means 10 teams fucked up, Ricky.
No.
Islanders won the
draft. They were ranked 11th, but won the draft.
Okay, they won the draft lottery.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like, taking Ron Duguay over Mike Bossy.
I think the Rangers need to back up their scoring. A guy that snipes. That's what I think.
I agree.
Well, listen.
You got potential in Iorio. He's a big guy. Okay?
They don't play him.
It doesn't matter. He's going to get a crack during next training camp. Trust me. He's going to get a shot.
Hey, speaking of guys who aren't playing, what do you think of Scott Morrow? Like, do you think he gets traded in the offseason?
Because giving him the business. I think he should be playing too.
Well, he goes down to Hartford. He's playing 25 minutes a night down there. He's PK. He's power play 1, PK 1, and he's playing a regular shift. One thing I will say, and again, Kotz, I know you're going to punch me in the head when you see me. You know why I don't like this kid? The brawl the other night, he watched his goalie get punched in the face, right? And he let his goalie fight the guy who hit him. He stood back and what's his name?
I saw that out there.
Okay, but then 2 nights later against Hershey, he's the defenseman on the ice when the Hershey player speared Garrard in the balls, and he didn't do a thing about it. You know what? I don't want him on my team.
Ricky, I could say the same thing about Edstrom last night when Ball challenged him.
Why change the game with Edstrom?
It doesn't matter. You're winning a game easily. Show your stuff. Ball challenged him, and Edstrom skated away.
I'm okay with Edstrom skating away, to be honest with you.
You're okay.
I am.
People okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I think Edstrom, when it came down to it, would drop his gloves.
That's a first.
I'm just saying, I don't think there's a reason for him to fight there.
Yeah,
but let me ask you a question.
Yes, there is, Ricky, because he's not guaranteed a spot on this team next year.
If Edstrom was on the ice when Quick got run over or Igor got speared and did nothing about it, I'd drive to MSG and punch him in the face myself.
Every time something blatantly happens this year, you point it out. I point one out to you, and now you're defending it.
I'm not defending it.
Yeah,
I'm just saying there's no reason for him to fight.
Every time something like that happened this year, you always come up with the guy. He didn't do nothing. Well, he didn't do nothing last night, and now you're defending him?
I'm not defending him. You're right then. You're right. If you think he should fight, you know the game better than me, then he should have fought. And I agree with you. He should have
just tucked his head down and skated away. He should have said, give him a shot at least as he goes by him.
Okay. I'll be honest with you. I'm not even going to lie to you, Cuts. I didn't even notice it.
Well, look it up. It happened, didn't it, Matt? At the end, in the third period, it happened. Right after a whistle, Ball hit him shot. And Ball looked at him like this, Ricky. And Edstrom just
Well, I'll be honest with you. I thought Calgary in the first period took runs at everybody, and nobody did nothing about it. That big kid on defense that played with the ball, the 6'7" kid, he hit the first 3 shifts. He hit everything that moved, and nobody did a thing about it. I agree with you. But then again, I want to know is, again, you cannot dress a lineup with 4 guys under 6 feet tall in the NHL anymore. It can't happen.
I agree.
Just because you're banging my niece doesn't mean you got a lineup spot. And he does.
Listen, as much as you were on Connor's show, this is probably his last hurrah period, you know.
I don't know. I bet you he gets re-signed.
I think he'll get re-signed.
I bet you he gets re-signed.
No.
Yeah. I mean, you're only going to keep him or Johnny Brodzinski as the 13th forward. God would only hope. But, I mean,
that was the other guy. That's the other guy I was going to talk about. Brodzinski, right? That you have a lineup of Perreault, Brodzinski, him, Sherry. How many guys are you going to dress that are 5'9", 5'10", 155 pounds?
Adam Fox, too. I mean, on defense, you know.
Listen, I give Fox a hard time. Fox is a good hockey player.
I watch Perreault real close. I don't watch the game like normal people. Trust me, I don't. Perreault, at least, I've seen him actually go and hit people with a little trying force, not just bump into people. He's actually trying to take guys out once in a while.
I saw him come in a scrum last night, put somebody in a face lock from behind that was on top of Trocheck. I give the kid credit.
So I can put up with his size as long as he's putting up the points in the offense, and he's doing that. I mean, he's got it. That kid's got it. Just hopefully they don't ruin him.
I'm getting power surges here, guys. If I cut out, I'm losing power. My lights just flickered. I don't know if you saw that.
Maybe you have a ghost.
Don't even talk about ghosts. I'll fill you on that story later.
All right, so gentlemen, we're getting close to the time here. We're looking at this team right now. We're looking how well they are playing as quote-unquote meaningless hockey because this team got in such a bad hole. There's really no shot of them making the playoffs. Are they really that far off? Could this actually be a retool, or do you guys think that it should be more of a rebuild? Because the way they're playing right now, it seems like, hey, you know, last week I asked you, Katsi, you said they're about 4 or 5 players away from making the playoffs. Right now, the way they're playing, I know they're playing some bottom feeder teams, but it looks like maybe it's only 2 or 3. And the right signing, the right development, they could maybe be a Cinderella team.
It's the guys I told you. Cooley's got to get a little better. Okay, Laba's going to get better. You know that. He hasn't played first string line yet. Laba. He's still like floundering between 3rd and 2 once in a while. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
These guys improve their game even 10 to 20%. And then you're talking about Helmash there. Ricky, I've watched him. When he gets going down the right side there, the defensemen are underestimating his speed and his length. And he gets to the front of the net.
Yep.
Okay? This guy's got potential to be better than what he is right now, but he's got to learn the game. Same thing with Edstrom. Some of these guys are in the lineup possibly. That's what I see. And then in the summertime, come draft time, whatever they got going on, and whoever's still disgruntled, if it's Drury and if it's Shesterkin, if it's this guy, then it's time to make the move. But right now, you got to like the way the guys are playing. They're playing with a little bit more jolt of electricity because of the fact that the trade deadline's over. It's an automatic. Every team does it when holy shit, trade deadline's over, so now I can play a little more free. You know what I mean? But it's all going to depend on how they finish the season, how much more improvement we see from these guys that I mentioned. Okay? It's not the same old guys I'm worried about. I'm worried about the guys that have the potential to be really good and help this team. And if it doesn't work out, then Drury's got to do some stuff in the summertime. I'm
just wondering, does anybody notice how the team has played better without JT Miller in the lineup this season? Just making a point.
Yeah.
That's a whole other can of worms for another show, but the Rangers play better.
Bring it up now. I mean,
I'm not going to make a total judgment on him because I don't know if he's damaged goods or not. I think he's damaged goods.
Well, he got hurt in the preseason, but then he was healthy enough to crowd surf, like, you know, and go to the Olympic Games. And then 3 games after the Olympic Games, now he's probably done.
I think he's got a concussion, Matt. I'll be honest with you. I mentioned it. That game, he got hurt. he got knocked down with a cross check to the back of his neck. He went down and a shot from the point hit him in the back of the helmet. I think he's got a concussion right now. I think it's nothing to do with
probably more than that. We're getting it. That's probably true, but I think there's other problems with his upper body and stuff like that.
For sure. I don't think he ever healed. But anyway, Matt, to answer your question,
I could live without him playing the rest of the year and trying to regain his form next year. You know, and then once the season starts, you hope that he's ready to go.
Matty, to answer your question, I think 100% before 2030 the Rangers make the playoffs.
Oh yeah, I got that.
I don't know. I don't trust Chris Drury. The moment I have
faith as far as I can throw him, but I will trust you by picking Toronto. Blatantly 1 month into the season, you called it. Okay, I got to give you credit where credit's due.
That organization is a disgrace.
You also called Austin Matthews.
I thought they were going to be better without Marner, Kotze. That's what you told me.
No, it's got nothing to do with Marner. You're full of shit on that one.
You said I have the video on it.
You're the one
that said they'd be better without Marner.
Marner's the reason. It's not the reason. It's about a bunch of guys that play in a big city in a big organization that Canada loves, and they get comfortable and don't give a shit. Okay? That's what it's like there now. You got guys on that defense, McCabe and Riley, and you got Matthews, and you got the Swede guy. They don't give a fuck. They're getting their fucking $10 million a year. They're walking around town eating at the best dinners. You think those guys care? They don't play like it.
You know what Toronto is?
They don't play like it.
Toronto's New York North. End of story.
I got a little bit more insight on the Leafs than you do. I talk to Leaf people that are still up there, and I also talk to my former Leaf teammates that go to the games. And you know what? Every one of them agrees with me what it's like there right now. And you got a guy like Brad Trevling running one of the greatest organizations in the history of the NHL. Brad Trevling? What the fuck has he done? Look his record up. What has he done as a GM?
I'll ask you, Kotze, what's harder to play in, New York or Toronto?
Toronto.
Really?
Because that's it. New York's got other things. They got the Knicks. They got the Yankees. You know what I mean? They got the Giants. You got fired up fans for all the sports in Toronto. Toronto only gets fired up for the Blue Jays when they're good. Toronto only gets fired up for the Raptors when they're good, but the Leafs are a constant. It's a constant. If you really have to pick, Matt, who's the biggest franchise in New York City? It's the Yankees. Toronto's the Yankees. That's what they are.
They don't win like them, but the Yankees.
but they're the Yankees.
I get it.
Trust me, the Rangers probably have like maybe 15, 20 reporters show up after their games. I'll guarantee there's 50 to 100 after a Leaf game.
Was it like that? Was it like that when you played?
There's at least 25 to 30 every game.
Wow.
Nobody had
now. Did you feel? I mean, because you were in the when did you play with Toronto? 80.
Wendell Clark's rookie year, 85 to 89.
85 to 89. Did you start feeling any pressure of like 1967? Because obviously now you're talking they're coming up on 60 years without winning. Was there any pressure when you played on that, or not?
There's always pressure in Toronto, plain and simple, because of that. You know, the years that it's taken so far. But you're talking 80s. I mean, we're only talking like 20-something years. You know what I mean? When I was there, but now it's like whatever, 1,000 years.
Yeah, coming up on 60.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's even worse. I get it. Listen, I get into it. I've been interviewed by Leaf reporters in the past 10 years, and the only thing I get mad at, I get mad at one thing, is how they always talk about that. This is how they reported up there in Toronto, and the Leaf fans are, the bad 80s, the worst 80s. It was the worst decade of hockey for the Leafs, and I'm like, how the fuck can you guys say that? We made the playoffs 3 out of the 4 years I played there in the 80s. We went 2 rounds 3 times. And then I find out when Matt Sundin was there, they didn't make the playoffs for 11 years. I don't know about you, but 11 years seems a lot longer not making the playoffs than 6 years out of 10.
Yeah.
The 80s. You know what I mean? But they do that all the time up there. And I always have to remind them.
Well, it was how long before they won a playoff series, and they haven't been. Were you on that last Leafs team that made the Final Four? No.
No, we 2 years
you ever
in a
make-
row. 2 years in a row, we went to the second round, and we were one game away going to the
Final
semifinals.
Four. Okay. All right. Fair enough. But we'll close it out. We'll close it out here on the Rangers here. There's not a lot in free agency you can really see tinkering, and the trades the Rangers don't have the assets to do. So if you're Chris Drury or if you get hired as the GM, what are you doing to this team? You know, to just tinker it. Do you try to just stay the course and rebuild, retool, or do you think you can tinker it enough to get back into the playoffs like a couple of years ago? I know what you think.
You know, I think the summertime is going to be big. I really do. I think it's going to be big for Chris Drury. I think a lot of people are right in criticizing what he's done the last couple of years. I thought he did a great job the first couple of years.
Great. Chris Drury did great.
He did do a couple of good things there. Come on, think about it. He was in charge.
Like what?
Well, they were in charge when they won. They had the most points in the league one year. Think about it.
Well,
How bad are you?
he took over for Gordon.
It doesn't matter. He maintained it.
Um,
How about the guys that come? How about the guys that take over that don't maintain it?
He signed Patrick Nemeth to trade him away for multiple second picks.
Listen, he did a pretty good job of purging some stuff that didn't need to be here the first few years. Go back and look at your history. But the last couple of years, he's struggled. I think he's struggled with how to deal with players with no trade contracts. I think that was a big issue, and I think it's still a big issue.
He's too transparent. I mean,
yeah, I've said it over and over again.
I don't know if it's. I don't know if
want
it's.
to tell people that I'm trying to trade you.
I know. I don't know if it's
summertime coming up. I would be looking at okay. I'd call everybody into the office one at a time, and I'd have a nice friendly chat. If you want a beer, we'll have a beer together. Whatever. Are you committed to this team, or are you not committed to this team? I got to know ahead of time. I got to know. I don't want to hear any, stuff afterwards from you. I want to know now. That way there I have a plan going into the draft, okay? I don't know how many extra draft choices or non-draft choices they got yet. When that happens, I'll let you even know more. But it's possible he's going to make some moves in the summertime, give away a few draft choices and a player to get somebody back. He's got to do something like that to back up what I said to you about the 5 guys that are going to have to improve. You got to have backup. That's why I'm asking you guys. You're hip to it, Matt. You're hip to the fact that who's going to be a stud, who's not going to be a stud scoring-wise. I want to know who's a scorer. I don't care if he does a back check. I don't care if he doesn't forward check. I want to know a guy when the puck's on his stick and the right opportunity, he's going to put the puck in the net 25% of the time he shoots. That's what I want.
We had a guy like that. He's over in LA right now, but
Yeah, but you know what? He ran his course.
I get it. Hey, listen. I think it's pretty simple what this team has to do. I think they have to stay the course with the young guys. I think Chris Drury needs to find who's leaking information and get them out. Because you look at St. Louis, right? When they found out the Parayko trade and the Parayko trade got called back, right? And they checked everybody's phones. They looked through everybody's phone. They looked through, maybe it was one of the inside guys. I don't know. But because they didn't bring up the trade to Parayko, and then he was like, no, I'm not going to Buffalo. And that's just a bad look. It's awkward for the player and so on and so forth. With that being said, you need to stop leaking. Like, there's no reason why every Ranger we know for 2 to 3 months prior before they get dealt, who's going to get dealt. We knew the offseason they wanted to move him. They moved him in December. We knew Kreider at the trade deadline last year they wanted to move. We moved him at in the offseason. We knew Panarin, as soon as Drury sent out the freaking letter, he wanted to go.
What about Goodrow? Same thing with Goodrow.
Well, yeah. You telegraph it, you take the value, you hurt your return, and when is the last trade that Chris Drury won? The only trade of recent that I could say Chris Drury actually did well on is like the Ryan Lindgren trade. I will say that.
That was a good trade.
They got a second, fourth, and Parsonen and Calvin DeHaan.
Listen,
So-
Linder was a great Ranger. Problem was he couldn't handle the physical stuff. He got hurt.
No, he got broken down easy.
But he was game. You know what I mean? He wasn't shy about playing physical.
No.
Matt, you're the GM now, okay?
Okay.
Here's my advice to you. You want to trade somebody? There's only two people that should know at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
You and the owner. That's it.
Yep.
And then you find out around what's possible, what's not. Then you call the player in, especially if he's got a no-trade contract. But nobody else should know until the trade's made. Simple as that. How hard is that to keep your mouth shut? Keep it tight between two, maybe three people only. It's not that hard. But when you write letters to the fans, and then you go into the news and you can read about this guy's disgruntled, he's rumored to be traded. Where does all this start? It starts from, like you just said, somebody's leaking.
Yeah.
I wouldn't trade anybody and let anybody know outside that player and my owner. That's it. Not my assistant general manager, not my fucking coach, nobody.
I agree.
I wouldn't let them know.
I agree. Hey, listen, I think it's been some good hockey. We'll see how they continue to play.
I'm just looking for improvement. I'm looking for improvement from these guys. So far, so good.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. And we'll get geared up for the playoffs. I'm excited for the playoffs. We're going to talk some playoff hockey. We'll go into that.
Let me know, when the playoffs start, you let me know how those games go to start at 11 o'clock, okay? Because I'll be sleeping.
Yeah, I'll be out cold. Listen, I got little ones, man. You know that.
I know.
So I'll be out cold there.
I had an excuse when I had a little one. When I was playing, I was still playing. So whenever the kids woke up in the middle of the night, I just tapped the wife with my leg and said, "He's crying again."
Yeah, you think I can hear that?
I got to get my rest. I got a game tomorrow.
Of course. It's tomorrow night, but whatever. All right, guys. Thanks for hopping on. Appreciate everybody in the chat. The chat was awesome today over on TikTok. We'll try to get this on YouTube here. And appreciate everybody. So have a good night, and we'll see you next week.